Hello guys, once again, welcome back sa ating channel. And it's been a while since I uploaded a new lecture. So marami lang kasing nangyari, that's why medyo na-delay ang mga uploads natin. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about another topic na naman. This is relative to our subject lie detection techniques. So we're going to be talking about the legality of polygraph testing. So we have subtopic of over those topics. We have the topic number 1, which is the validity of polygraph examination, and the other one is the admissibility of the polygraph test result. So I would like to take this opportunity also to discuss these matters to you as part of the unit 4 lecture of our subject matter lie detection techniques. So by the way, we have a module for this. We have I save it on Google Drive. I have the link on the description. You just click and download the module so that you can read it later after the lecture. So let's move into our discussion, guys. We have here the legal aspect of polygraph examination. The first thing that we should talk about, una nating pag-uusapan is the validity of the polygraph examination. Lagi itong nababanggit. I have seen also some of your comments dun sa mga lectures natin wherein you're stating that this is the reason why polygraph examination result is not acceptable as an evidence in court. Probably in some other subjects, napag-usapan nyo na rin kung bakit nga ba hindi siya tinatanggap na evidence sa Philippine court natin. So the issue on polygraph examination, whether it is admissible or valid as an evidence, is a very debatable topic actually. So there are those who says or who claims that it is indeed reliable. That's why pwede natin gamitin yan as an evidence. But there are those individuals that they argue upon the reliability of this method in coming up with the truth. So both of them, parehas sila, meron namang kanya-kanyang strength with their claims and have their own weaknesses with regards to their claims. So later on, I'll be stating my own side also onto this issue, whether do I agree or I do not agree with the notion that polygraph test result is acceptable or admissible or reliable as an evidence in court. So with regards to the validity of polygraph examination, sabi nga natin, in many years the polygraph examination has long been limited to investigation only, until now. Though sabi nga natin, polygraph examination is an aid, it's an valuable aid in the conduct of criminal investigation as it expedite, pinapadali niya yung investigation process natin. So yun yung nakikita nating strength ng paggamit ng polygraph examination. However, with regards to its evidentiary significance, whether does it holds that much value in terms of court presentation or in terms of evidence in court to establish the truth. Yan yung laging napagtatalunan ng mga lawyers, investigators, and other personalities or other professionals in the field of criminal investigation, and as well as in the justice system that we have. But as I've noticed, and many have noticed, that the acceptance of the result of polygraph examination has grown little by little. In fact, almost half of the state in United States had already made their own policies that accepts the result of polygraph examination. That is true. Marami ng bansa sa United States, maraming state sa United States na ang tumatanggap ng resulta ng polygraph examination as an evidence. So if they, sila na masasabi nating modernized countries or states see the value of using polygraph examination results as an evidence in court, then why should other countries move forward into this? Kasi the technology that we have and the methods that we have is not regressing. Hindi siya paurong. Actually, it is evolving, sabi ko nga. It evolves into more and more sophisticated methods and technologies. That's why the reliability of the result of polygraph examination is indeed increasing in terms of statistical terms. So tumataas yung kanyang reliability the more na na-improve yung methods and then yung technology na ginagamit sa polygraph testing. And I think in part of in some of our discussion we made mention of those factors, by the way, that may affect the result, the accuracy of the result of polygraph examination, such as the examiner, the machine, the environment, and so on. So modernization affects the methodology, kung paano i-conduct yung polygraph testing. Habang nag-i-improve tayo, nagmo-modernize din yung kanilang pamamaraan kung paano sila mag-conduct ng polygraph examination. And then the machine that they are using sa pag-conduct ng polygraph examination is, it goes with the globalization. It goes with the modernization that we have. So nagbabago siya. So it's been how many years since the concept of polygraph examination has been established, and until now majority or half pa rin yung tingin ng scientific community as to the admissibility and reliability of polygraph examination result. So there are instances actually. So, di ba, we made mention that majority of the state of United States had already accepted the result of polygraph examination as an evidence. That's why that's because of the establishment yung tinatawag nating Fry rule, wherein this specific rule was established in a certain case wherein they use polygraph examination or the result of polygraph examination as an evidence in court. However, the court did not accepted the findings of the Marston, one of the pioneer of polygraph testing, due to the concept of general acceptability. Doon nagkaroon na tayo ng tinatawag nating Fry rule. By the way, if you have time, search on the Fry rule and read the concept of the Fry rule for us to better understand the concept of general acceptability na tinatawag. So to cut this story short, there was this young boy who was accused of a certain crime, wherein there's a lot of evidence that was presented against him. But then Marston was invited to conduct a polygraph examination. So he conducted a polygraph examination, specifically yung tinatawag natin systolic lie detection. So systolic lie detection is just one of the possible method of establishing whether the person is telling the truth or not, no? Kasi I know that you're familiar already with regards to the different parts of the polygraph examination with the different attachment of the polygraph machine, rather, no? So we have galvanograph, we have cardiopulmonograph, we have the pneumograph attachment. So with regards to systolic, I think that that's basically on either the pneumograph and then the cardiopulmonograph. So he just utilized one of the concept of polygraph examination at dun lang siya nag-focus. And that's the very reason, kasi according to his findings, the accused displays no signs of lying when he is asked about the case. Nung natanong siya with regards to his involvement to the case, he denied about participating or committing the crime accused to him, and Marston did not notice any possible sign that the accused is lying. Therefore, Marston believed that the accused is innocent on the allegations thrown upon him. However, the court rejected the polygraph result, the result presented by Marston, due to reason that yung kinandak niya kasi is like experimental pa lang, experimental pa lang siya. So later on we will be discussing much on that part. So then the accused was convicted. The polygraph test result presented by Marston was rejected. Then later on they appealed the case. The higher court agreed with the lower court, so hindi nagbago. But then later on, one person claimed or confessed about committing the crime accused to the person who was first convicted. So merong umako na iba doon sa krimen na naiparatang doon sa una nating defendant. And that's the time when the decision of the court was reversed, nabaliktad na, kasi nga meron ng lumalabas na umaako doon sa krimen na dinedenay naman ng ating first na defendant. And that's the reason, and that's the point where they realize that indeed the findings of the polygraph examination conducted by Marston has its basis, and it's probably true if nakinig lang sana sila. However, ang tinitignan kasi ng korte dito is yung tinatawag nating general acceptability. Yung general acceptability na yan, they're talking about what is acceptable to the scientific community. So in the conduct of polygraph examination, there are a standard way of conducting polygraph examination. There are rules in conducting polygraph examination. There are standard methods established and approved by the scientific community on how polygraph examination should be conducted. So yun yung kulang kasi, at yun yung dinedebate nila under the presentation and the findings of Marston, which is he used a method, he used a method that is not yet acceptable or generally acceptable by the scientific community, on polygraph examination. So, ibig sabihin nito, pwede nating tanggapin ang resulta ng polygraph examination kung susundin natin yung standard procedure at standard na policies sa pag-conduct ng polygraph examination. That's the thing. Karamihan kasi ng kaso, ganyan ang nangyayari. Minsan is the experts themselves do not go by the book. May mga taong ganun that they try to innovate and make their own way or method of conducting polygraph examination without first seeking the approval of the scientific community. And that's the reason why some of the result of the polygraph examinations are being rejected. Kasi nga, they don't follow or they don't abide with the generally acceptable procedures, methods, and policies of conducting polygraph examination. The same thing happened in our country, in Philippines. The first case where polygraph examination was mentioned and used as an evidence, no? And the second case, the significant case that involves the use of polygraph examination, again, it's a crime of murder. And then the NBI, the laboratory of the NBI, concluded that when they subjected the accused to the conduct of polygraph examination, he does not display any sign of lying. Therefore, he is probably innocent of the allegation. However, the court did not listen and still proceeded with convicting the accused. No? Then the same issue again was pointed in here, that the polygraph or the conduct of polygraph examination was not, or the standard procedures and methods of conducting polygraph examination was not followed. Nowadays, we have yung mga tinatawag nating GQT, General Question Test. We have the Baxter method, we have the zone method. Ito yung mga established way or methodologies that the scientific community for polygraph examination agreed to accept. So if a polygraph examination will be conducted following this methodology, then there is no reason that the result of the polygraph examination will be rejected as an evidence in court. Yun lang naman. General acceptability. For a scientific evidence be accepted in court, they must abide with the general acceptable methods, policies, and procedures of conducting that scientific evidence or in collecting that scientific evidence. Okay? So that's the basic concept of the validity of polygraph examination. Polygraph examination is valid as an evidence in court if they go by what is acceptable, what is generally acceptable in their own field. No? And again, sabi nga natin, even if we have this principle, if the country or the state is not open-minded enough in accepting polygraph examination as an evidence, polygraph examination result as an evidence, then still we cannot do anything about it. So it is highly dependable upon the policy of the country in terms of criminal justice and court procedures, whether or not they accept the result of polygraph examination as an evidence in their courts. Okay? Next topic that we will be talking about is the polygraph test result, the admissibility of polygraph test result. Kanina pinag-uusapan natin yung validity, no? When the conduct of polygraph examination will be considered as valid. Today, now let's talk about its admissibility. Okay, so the admissibility of polygraph test result is dependent upon the criteria set by the scientific community. So again, pag-uusapan na naman natin yung scientific community in polygraph examination. So we have a certain association, we have a certain organization that oversees all the conducts, all the improvements of the conduct of polygraph examination, and they're the one who sets the standard. No? So lahat ng profession meron niyang organization wherein sila yung nagmamanage, sila yung nag-oversee ng lahat ng activities relevant to their field. So that organization set their own criteria, bargain with the courts, in order for the result of polygraph examination be admissible as an evidence in court. Pag sinabi kasi natin admissible is katanggap-tanggap or tatanggapin ng korte bilang evidence. So, we have the following criteria that we should be talking about. We have at least 4. No? Ang una doon sa criteria na tinitignan is a polygraph examination result may be admissible, but then, no, yung tinatawag natin judicial discretion. Ano ba ang ibig sabihin nito? So, pwedeng tanggapin ang resulta ng polygraph examination as an evidence in court, but still, they must fulfill or they must agree that the court has still the right to use their own discretion whether or not they're going to give merit to the result. So, pwedeng sabihin ng expert ng polygraph na this person is lying. Therefore, he shows symptoms of lying. He is not cooperative with the polygraph examination. So, therefore, he might be he might be trying to hide something. So, that is probably one of the example of the conclusion of the person, that the person shows inconsistencies, that the person subjected to polygraph examination shows signs or symptoms of lying. Now, under the criteria of judicial discretion, sabi dito, even with the conclusion presented by the expert in the field of polygraph examination, the court has still the right to decide whether they give merit to that. So, ito yung mahirap. That's why in our country, yung sinabi ko kanina, wherein the polygraph laboratory of NBI decided that or concluded that the person accused of a crime shows no symptoms of lying, the court still end up debunking the conclusion made by the polygraph expert. So even if the polygraph expert concluded that this person is innocent or probably innocent since he shows no symptoms of lying, hindi siya pinakinggan ng korte. And that's because of yung tinatawag natin judicial discretion. The conclusion of the polygraph examiner will not be accepted as fact, hindi siya established or hindi siya tatanggapin bilang isang fact, but rather as an opinion which the court has the right to believe or reject the conclusion made by the examiner. So yun yung tinatawag natin judicial discretion, which is very unfair in the field of polygraph examination kasi parang tinatanggap nila yung evidence, yung polygraph examination as a result as an opinion but not as a fact. Pag sinabi kasi nating fact, it has merit, it has automatic merit. Like for example, in the field of fingerprinting, if a fingerprint expert says this, concluded like this, makes his own judgment of a certain case, like he claims that these two prints are the same or came from the same person, then matik yun, the court will believe in his testimony. But in the field of polygraph examination, that's not the case. Even if the examiner concluded like this, nag-conclude siya na ito, nagsisinungaling to, is probably hiding something, the court has still the right to override that decision. Pwede nila sabihin, okay, so that's your opinion, but this is what we believe. So pwedeng gawin yun ng court, Very unfair in the field of polygraph examination. Another criteria that must be fulfilled before polygraph test result will be admissible is the limited use of the polygraph examination, which is the same with regards to the judicial discretion. Ang sabi dito sa limited use by jury under the admissibility or criteria of admissibility of polygraph test result is that the court still has reservation over the result of the examination. So even if the expert already concluded or made his testimony and conclusion, the court may still have reservation over it. Pwede nilang paniwalaan or pwede nilang hindi paniwalaan yung pinipresenta ng polygraph expert na result ng polygraph examination. So, the merit is really dependable upon the court, now whether they give merit to the result or not. So ayan yung isa sa criteria under the admissibility of polygraph test result. No? And the third one is written stipulation, which means that before a polygraph test result will be admissible as an evidence in court, a written stipulation must be done, no? Wherein yung mga parties involved, such as the accused, the defendant, and even the court, no, must write a stipulation, no, na kung saan na nakasaad doon na sila ay willing tanggapin ang resulta ng polygraph examination, no, na ebidensya sa court or doon sa case na dinidinig. So kailangan muna nilang magsulat ng written stipulation that all of them will accept the result of the polygraph examination as an evidence. So kailangan yan. This is with respect also of their right against self-incrimination. That's why they must be advised by their lawyers, by their representatives regarding their rights against self-incrimination. So if there is a written stipulation that all of them will accept the result of polygraph examination as an evidence in court, then that's the time that polygraph examination result will be admissible as an evidence in court. This is done before the conduct of actual examination. Ano? Gagawin ito bago mag-conduct ng polygraph examination. Kasi kung nakikita nyo, in national TV, meron yung mga nagkakahamunan na, sige, magpa-lie detector tayo para malaman natin kung sino nagsasabi ng totoo. So those cases are the same, no? So bago sila magpa-conduct or bago sila isalang sa polygraph examination, kailangan muna nilang mag-execute ng written stipulation na sila ay tatanggapin nila kung ano man ang resulta ng polygraph examination, whether laban yun sa kanila or pabor yun sa kanila, no? Kailangan nilang gumawa ng written stipulation bago sila magpa-subject sa polygraph examination. Kasi ang mahirap nito is pwedeng nag-conduct kayo ng polygraph examination, nalaman na ikaw nagsasabi ka ng totoo, siya nagsasabi ng kasinungalingan, gusto mong gamitin yung resulta ng polygraph examination na ito bilang ebidensya pabor sa'yo, hindi na yun pwede kasi wala kayong written stipulation. Kailangan muna ninyong mag-execute ng written stipulation before kayo magpa-subject sa polygraph examination so that whatever the result, it will be acceptable as an evidence in court. Okay? And lastly, we have the result of polygraph examination when accepted as an evidence will be subjected to cross-examination. So, lahat naman ng uri ng ebidensya pag present sa court deserves to be conducted, or kailangan yung party which the evidence is being presented against, has the right to cross-examine the evidence being presented. So, the same principle applies to the result of polygraph examination. So, halimbawa, okay, so you executed the written stipulation, then it turns out against sa'yo yung result. Parang ikaw yung napasama doon sa result ng polygraph examination. If that happens, you still have the right to cross-examine it. Pwede mo pa rin i-question yung resulta ng polygraph examination, especially in terms of paano siya kinandak, baka may bias, or hindi kaya is marunong ba talaga yung nag-conduct ng polygraph examination, ano ba yung degree ng education niya in terms of that profession, and so on. So you can scrutinize all of these issues, just to maybe invalidate the result of the polygraph examination. So, but then still, sabi ko nga, it is a matter of right, karapatan mo yan bilang akusado, kung ikaw man ang akusado, bilang tao na inaakusahan ng isang bagay, to cross-examine all the evidence being presented against you. So that's the same thing with regards to the admissibility of polygraph test result. Before it will be accepted or admissible, accepted as admissible evidence in court, the criteria, all of the criteria I mentioned must be fulfilled, such as judicial discretion, limited use, written stipulation, and it must be cross-examined. Okay? So those are the criterias that must be fulfilled before a polygraph test result will be accepted as an evidence. So with all of this, now I can clearly or proudly say that, of course, I do believe that polygraph test result must be acceptable as an evidence in court, because um, we are no longer on the era where uh, the methods and the instrument that we're using are so outdated. No? The conduct of polygraph, or the field of polygraph testing, had evolved into what it is today already. We cannot compare the methods and the instruments that they're using in the early days of polygraph examination. Ngayon, ang laki na ng pinagbago ng polygraph testing. So that's why I think it's about time that the court in our country must see into accepting the result of polygraph testing as an evidence in court. Now, not only because the other countries had already accepted it, but the fact that careful analysis must be conducted in terms of this. No? So, kailangan na nating pagtuunan ng atensyon ang pagkandak ng polygraph examination result. If we need to set a higher standard so that we can accept the result of the polygraph testing, then they should say so. No? Halimbawa, mag-set sila ng ganitong criteria. No? Kasi itong criteria na sinabi ko with regards to admissibility is applied internationally. Those countries who had accepted the result of polygraph examination as an evidence had adopted this criteria. Now, if our country wants to set the bar higher than the international standard, then they should say so that the polygraph profession, polygraph examination industry will try to do something so that they can comply with the criteria that the government must set. We should not stick with the belief that human error is a big factor. Yes, indeed, there's a lot of human intervention in terms of polygraph testing, but that's the same thing also with all of the other forensic tools that the different crime laboratories are using. No? Bakit ang fingerprint ba does not have human intervention? It does. No? Does the DNA don't have human intervention? It does. No? Then the same thing also with this. No? There is a human intervention in terms of conduct of polygraph testing. So we should not stick with the concept that it has a lot of human error, no? Or pwedeng may mga other factors. Those are normal things that can happen in all field of forensic science, no? So instead of staying on the belief that polygraph examination will never be acceptable because it has low credibility, it has low validity, no? And the result is doubtful as always, I think hindi na yun yung maging mindset sana ng karamihan. The government, the state, no, should recognize the significance of this forensic science in the field of delivering justice to whom the justice may be due. No? So that's the thing with regards to the admissibility and the validity of polygraph examination. Okay, so I do hope that you learned something from this short lecture, guys. If you have questions with regards to the things that we discussed, comment those down on the comment section, and I'll try to get back to you soon. So thank you for listening, and I do hope you learned something. See you on the next lecture. Goodbye.